really interesting. Wow. Yeah, really interesting how he considered the fold so heavily because people just under bluff in these $400 tournaments. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what are his bluffs? You know, like if we really think about it, like sure, ace high has some showdown value if you had ace five, and when he raises the turn with maybe some backdoor diamond draw or something like that, he actually gets calls. And on this kind of board, like what hands do you have that you're folding?
And it's gonna have some misdraws and things too. So I think calling is the only option myself. Let's see if Boogaloo got away from it. Ooh, call is 6.
So this is close between call.
Really interesting. So call is 6, raise is 7,500 is 10 points. And I'm going to say he said that because this is a very bad player. And so he thinks the very bad player is going to stack off here with worse queens a lot. I'm going to guarantee that's what he's going to say. Very interesting, though. I thought call for sure was the right answer. I never am in this spot. I don't know. Interesting spot, too. I think this is a little bit of a lesson for everyone out there, too. A lot of times, the hands we want to float with, like this one, are better as raises. So this kind of falls in that category.
Yeah, and he was kind of an echo chamber for us there, saying, you know, we just get better hands to call and worse to fold.
Yep.
Like he's going to have some gut shots in his range. He's going to have spade draws. He's going to have king X. And we kind of, we kind of identify kind of what cards are going to be bad for us on future streets, and we're aware how to proceed on those cards.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a very good point. You right.
That was the best. You didn't say anything. You won. Just straight up.
You won. I'm just
All right, so ooh, look at this. You're not opening this. You just looked at this. You're not opening.
Button cut off, hijack, low jack, under the gun one. You are right.
Come on now. Okay. I am. So let's see if he.
He's got to open it, or there wouldn't be a hand.
It wouldn't
I'm
be a
already
quiz.
down on points.
You're already down on points in real life. Now, obviously, you're gonna cheat, but
I'm gonna evolve.
you're gonna adapt, right?
All right, let's play it.
I'm going to cry if he says he's folding here. Like, if he's like, yeah, you should be folding this in this kind of tournament, and you were actually right. All right, cool.
Wah, wah.
Like a spot where we have
Ah!
standard.
Yes.
And the reason is because queen.
I just want to say for the record that this is the best 3-point score I've ever gotten in my life. Because the right answer was fold.
Right? But you heard what he said about the tables. This is a 3K.
Here comes the excuses. 10
The
points
excuses
fold.
to
It says
open
right
if your
here.
table is particularly tight and weak. Welcome to the $5 2K world. I mean, the $11 10K. I'm opening this, yeah, for sure.
This is the best 3 points of my life.
Oh, that's hilarious. And everybody's 50.
nailed it. What the hell kind of play is that from King Queen? Who does that?
Who the hell? Yeah, so Mad Dog.
Jonathan Little's an absolute crusher, so it's nice to have him.
Yeah, I agree, and I
Just
always love
coaching.
playing right after sessions like this because I feel like my brain's warmed up. I'm thinking through things, and so it's a good way to start your session for sure.
Right. All right, guys, this is it.
What's up, Mike? You want to give a gist? He was saying Narco Cop was playing about depipping about 28% of hands. He had been very aggressive in this $10 buy-in, and here are the options: to fold, to call, to raise to 1,200, raise to. What? Wait a minute. He made it 800, and my man's giving options to 12 and 1,400 ounces. So it's already getting kind of spicy. That's so nasty. To be on a site with these other crushers, well-known poker public figures is pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I didn't mention that when I was kind of giving a little intro here too. Assassinato, Matt Affleck, John Little, all coaches on the site, so very highly respectable, quality poker content.
Yep, Evan Jarvis as well. Remember Evan Jarvis, Matt Affleck, Assassinato, John Little.
Yeah, so I guess that just makes sense. He just have the ace of clubs in his hand. That's interesting, though. I
How
thought
many
that was
points you got?
interesting.
You didn't do that bad. 45.
I like how you just pat me on the back. You didn't do that bad. Well, yeah, good job, buddy. Like,
The back.
I remember I got the higher score in the first one. So, we're 1 for 1, buddy.
I just want to know.
Calling, guys. Let's see if we're good.
Similar situation as pre-flop. I think pre.
All right, guys, we're checking, I guess. Oh, for fuck's sake.
One of the things I teach people when it comes to poker is when you can get to the turn and there's an opportunity.
When you're facing a min raise or just a touch more than a min raise, and there's an ante in play, which is going to be the case in most tournaments, I think, going forward, you want to defend pretty wide. If your opponent's making a 2.
All right, cool. You're going 1,400.
I'm going 1,400, guys.
I'm gonna go call with the arm and let's see what happens.
All right, and ready for
I would
the-
fold in game though, for the record, in case that's the winning end.
You won. You win. I have to concede. You win.
14K.
14K, let's do it.
Let's do it.
No, we cannot win. This is a pretty rough spot because
Damn it.
Mm-hmm. Where do you gonna get my chat? They like naughty things. They like just beer, alcohol,
All right, let's do I can do a $10 ACR giveaway.
$10 ACR giveaway courtesy of my man Toe. For me beating that ass heads up in this. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. We'll do this. We'll have to do it at least once a week, man. And then we'll do it every week a couple times.
So it's a tie.
I guess we got to give out $10 to each other's communities. We'll just do our own $10 free roll for each. Or does that sound fair?
Yes. Do you know what this means?
You win. I give his chat $10. Take it.
So that's cool because we have 2 ties and then a win from you and a win from me. This is like the epic battle. It's perfect. It's great.
Yeah, we're even Stevens.
This is awesome.
Take it.
I love it.
You know,
Stop. We got a giveaway going. Let's run the giveaway for the $10 ACR winner. Closing the giveaway. Drawing the winner. My man Sebs are getting the $10 ACR giveaway for this one. All right, guys, we're back and we are live for the PokerCoach.com study session stream. Welcome. I see some new people in there.
Oh, shit.
I see a lot of the old legends in here. What's happening, guys? We do this every Saturday, noon Eastern. Get better together with our special
I'm
guest
not
this
prepared.
time, coach, podcast creator, all around amazing guy, Mr. Brad Wilson. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Hey.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, and of course I got my partner Crazy Sixes in the house doing what he always do. How you doing, Sixes?
what's up, man? What's up, guys? Good morning, Toe Army, Sixes Mafia. What's up, guys? We are excited to have Brad Wilson here. We both have had an opportunity to do the podcast, and it was phenomenal. And I listened to them, and I learned a lot, and there's a lot of great stories. So I would highly encourage you guys to check that out. Brad, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Just chilling out, trying to take a Saturday as it comes.
Hell yeah, man.
That's all
And
you can do.
yeah. Yeah, man, we're excited to have him here. You want to tell the chat, tell both communities a little bit about yourself and kind of what you do, like you play cash and, a little bit
Yeah,
backstory.
I play cash. Not too many tournaments. I was just telling them, we do tournament analysis at 30 Big Blinds, and I'm just kind of clicking buttons. But my specialty's cash. I do the Chasing Poker Greatness podcast. I have a community. I make courses. I make stuff for poker coaching. Yeah, I do a lot of things. And poker's been my entire professional life since I was about 20 years old.
That's amazing.
Okay, cool. What stakes do you play? You play, did you play any live poker? Do you have a live poker background at all, mostly online, or?
I started out playing live poker.
Okay.
After Black Friday, I lived at Commerce and grinded about 60 hours a week playing the 10-20 no limit game and 20-40 whenever it ran.
From my
online. I love Commerce, and a lot of people don't like Commerce, but I enjoyed just leaving my room and walking right down, getting on the list, and playing some cards every day.
Nice.
So anyway, then I started playing back online again. I play 1K no limit on Ignition when I get a chance to play, which is pretty rarely because a lot of responsibilities, a lot of private coaching, a lot of creation, a lot of promotion, a lot of podcasting kind of eats into my poker time. And by the time like the games are good at 7 p.m. EST, like my brain's fried and I would not be playing on a very high level. And I guess them's the breaks, right?
Yeah, people don't realize how much work it is. We were talking about this a little bit off before we started too, like how much work it is just to be a content creator with all the marketing and the editing and actually creating the content and, being out there and, the internet's such a big place, shouting in a big giant open room and just having trying to get people to look at you is so super, super tough.
I often wonder, like, is it worth it to shout? I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't feel worth it to shout. Like,
it's funny you say that because Six and I have very different approaches. I shout everywhere, and Six's shouts nowhere, and we have very similar community numbers. And so, I guess you got to find what works for you.
It seems like the shouting's not doing much good. If you have,
But
Yeah,
I have
I
to
just
be
like to-
active here.
It makes me
I
feel
have to be
special.
on Twitch. Yeah, you still have to be like active in
Yeah.
what you're doing, but I just don't have time.
And what's funny is Six's
all
streams
day.
more than I do, and I shout more than he does, and maybe that's the difference.
yeah, maybe so.
Cool. Guys, this is the Poker Coach kind of study session stream. I put exclamation point guest in my chat. You can follow the links to Chasing Poker Greatness, and you have his handle on Twitter. Like Sixes was saying, make sure you check out my episode. Make sure you check out Six's episode. Make sure you check out all the episodes. He's got a lot of really well-known poker
Really good stuff on
personalities
there.
there. I mean, way bigger than the two of us. He's got things like Jungle Man and JL and Affleck. He's got all those guys and a bunch more. Check out all those episodes. For today, exclamation point PC in the chat, both mine and Six's. Sorry, my wife just walked in the room and she's not wearing much. Sorry, especially PC. I was pleasantly distracted. In my chat and in Six's chat, you get a link to sign up for free. 20 free quizzes, big blind charts for 100 blinds or more, a bunch of webinars and homework assignments. If you sign up for the premium, there's about 1,200 quizzes that you can sign up for. Homework assignments, like I said, you can take these webinars where you get in front of these coaches. Brad included, he's got 2 coming up really soon. You get real personal and intimate with these guys, and it's one-on-one, and it's great. Pan left, you need a big donation for that one, Julius. Big donation for me to Pan left. Anyways, the way this is going to work, we're going to draw a winner from my stream. We're going to draw a winner from Six's stream. We're going to have those 2 winners be our person of the moment. We'll watch the quiz. We'll ask them what they will do. Please try and be prompt in your responses. Tag us if you can at GodsBigToe or at Crazy Sixes. And we'll be able to see it in the chat a lot better. Let us know what you would do. We'll see what the audience would do. We'll tell you what we think. We'll see what the coach in the video thinks. We'll see if we agree. And we go on from there. We get better together. If you are better than the person you are competing against, you will get $5 ACR, PayPal, Skrill, Carrier Pigeon, old school mail, whatever you need to do. Let us know. We'll send you your $5. Did I miss anything, Sixes?
Now you crushed it, my dude. And guys, thank you for that support. Divinity and Worst. Thank you guys for the biddies and the follows, subs.
Yeah, Honey, Worst, Cody, and you, Brad. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you.
All right. You guys want to pick? We'll pick a quiz.
You ready?
We'll mix it up this week. Since we have Brad. We'll go straight into something cash, I think, because we have so many cash to get through.
Yes.
You think that's fair, or do you want to stick with
I
Faraz?
think we should keep it cast-centric. One, because we never do that, and two, because we've done all the tournament quizzes.
Yeah, I think this will be a good. Yeah, we do so many tournament ones.
I don't
It will
mind.
say so.
I mean, the audience, if the audience wants tournament stuff, I'm down for a couple tournament quizzes for sure. It's no
Cool.
big deal.
I mean, we got to get the Faraj Doc in there. Or Sixes will cry.
But we have a
He
backlog
loves
of cash
those
because
quizzes.
we've been. Yeah, I do. So we'll do a Faraz one and mix most cash.
Cash
All right, guys,
is like
are you-
the leg day of study stream.
I like the analogy.
The leg day of study streams. I love it.
Sixes, you ready in Nightbot?
I am, sir. Let's do
Cool.
it.
Poker coaching in the chat, all one word. Spell
We're
it
right
out,
here.
and we'll give you a couple seconds to put those in the chat, and then that will qualify you to be a contestant. And while that's going, we'll pick a quiz. I filtered to cash. Is that what you're doing, Sixers?
I can just see some of the more recent cash ones. Like I see this 2-5, no limit, playing queen high. That looks kind of interesting. And then we have
Gifts with Tristan.
yeah,
1187.
that one's Tristan. Yeah, and then some 2-5 stuff because I'm looking to get back into Cash Street. So I want to hear like some thought processes and some analysis because I'm gonna go play cash soon.
All right, 1187 is the one we'll start with.
Yeah, we'll start with the 1187. That sounds good.
Cool,
What's
cool,
up,
cool.
Ev? Good
I
morning.
got a bunch of poker coachings coming into the chat right now.
I'm ready. We got a bunch.
All right, we'll draw fast.
Yep. You ready?
I am ready.
All right. Oh, Divinity.
And we have Miss Arlinia
Why is he
representing
doing
the Toe Army.
the Divinity in? Yeah, he did. Divinity, my dude. Congrats, buddy. And good luck, man. You already know what to do.
All right, guys, Legends of both streams, so we're ready to rock. We'll play this. Jay Tizzle, thank you for the follow. And get started. Ready? All
Yep.
right, let's play the quiz.
Hello there, poker coaching members. Tristan Wade here with a 2-5 no limit hold'em cash game quiz. So in this example, action folds around to us on the cutoff, and we have Queen Jack offsuit. So pretty easy raise here, and I come in for a normal 3x. Don't think I need to go quite bigger than that, given that I'm in late position, and just don't think it's necessary, even though we're deep stacked, to make it larger than 3x here. The small blind is a perceived nit who calls, and the flop comes ace-a-3, 2 hearts. I do not have a heart in this scenario, which you can see. They check, and I want to know, what should you do here? Should you check? Should you bet 10? Or should you bet 20?
All right, guys, here we go. C bet or no? This is cutoff versus small blind. Do we see bet? And if so, how much? Check for Jay right out the gate.
So we see a check. So we have a check. We have a small size, and then we have a large size. Okay.
Storm and Norman betting 20. Arlinia betting
20,
10.
20.
Betting small. Bruce betting
Table
small.
9, seat 9, just throwing the shit in the muck. In position, always a strong play. We'll always beat. Check. IT bet for 10, I think Raina says. So we're seeing all different options here, which is good.
Yeah, I got
more
mostly tens, a couple of checks, and one big bet.
Yeah, I see one big bet and a few smaller bets. I'm still waiting on Divinity, who's pondering his decision. Izzy is betting 10. Bruce Little Wayne going 20. Okay.
Streaming in. Good morning, Chip Critic. She's checking. Beats going 10. Still no Divinity, huh?
No, Divinity's typing stuff out. He's in the tank, in a spot where he's in position.
There's lots of tens. Lots of tens. Lots of tens. Lots of tens. You got about 10 seconds till you redraw.
I know he's out there. He says he bets 20.
Bets 20.
Stalling. All right, cool.
Cool.
What's your guy doing?
My girl Linnea is betting 10.
Linnea is going 10. All right, Brad, what do you think here, buddy, in this spot? And one question I have for you, like, is it just standard for you when you sit down at a table to just start with 3x? Or do you ever find that going more in certain table dynamics is going to be in your best interest?
I mean, so that's kind of a
like live?
Kind of a tricky question. So when I sit
Yeah.
down, like
Is it
I'm
just
cool with
3x?
using 3x, but I'm also paying attention and seeing where people are overcalling and kind of using my opponent's behavior to gauge the threshold of how
What you're
frequently
sizing.
specific opponents are calling, where the cutoff is, because basically if I can raise the button and like 5x and the small blind's going to continue either way, they're inflexible, then I just choose to larger sizing because like
Okay.
I don't really care what I have, but I have position against a bad player, and that just typically
enough.
ends well.
Yeah, that's good. And to be a little bit creative with our size. I know a lot of guys will just stick with one sizing. They'll sit down and always use 20 or always go like 2.5 or whatever. So
A lot of time it's table flow too. Like you start out with 3x, then you notice the whole table is 4xing, and that's kind of like the norm.
or you go
for the
3x
table.
and you go 6x and you get 5 callers. It's like,
I think like the table flow thing is kind of overrated. Like
Yeah.
there's I think about like an experiment. Is how I relate it to my community and my guys. Is like basically there was an experiment where they had these monkeys, right? They put these monkeys in a room, and we'll call it a banana. I'm not exactly sure what the food source was. They have a ladder and a banana, and whenever one would climb the ladder, everybody would get sprayed, right? So they realized pretty quickly, like, we don't want to do that. So then they would take out one of the monkeys that had experienced this, put in a new one. He would immediately climb up the ladder, and they would just grab him and pull him down because, like, yo, don't do that. You're gonna get us all hit with water. And eventually, they replaced every single monkey that had ever experienced getting sprayed with water. And still, if you put a new one in, it would climb up, and all the ones that had never been sprayed by water would tackle it and pull it down because it was like a learned behavior. And I think that like that's sort of how I think about those types of games where standard open is 10x. It's like basically you don't want to be doing monkey see, monkey do for no reason. Pay attention to like why people are opening 10x, and if there's not a good reason and it's just because everybody else is doing it, that's not good enough for me, right? So
Fair.
That's very good.
Play good poker. Don't be a dumb monkey. Is the moral of the story.
That's it.
I love it. That's good. That's it. Play good poker. We don't have to deviate so much
it.
from a good strategy when we see other people making mistakes.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
was a very good lesson.
What's your bet size here, Brad? What's
10.
your C bet size? 10.
10. Yeah.
Me too. No reason to
Pretty
size up here. It's got an ace or doesn't.
Well, I don't know that it necessarily has an ace or he doesn't, but like basically when small blind flats here and descriptions perceived nit, I think it's going to be fairly pocket paired dense.
Sure.
Ace high boards typically are overfolded, especially out of position. So 10 is like just auto bet.
Sure.
It feels like it's just making money just right away by betting 10, especially to a nit. Somebody who may just overfold in this spot. For sure, with hands you should depend much. So, yep, 10 for me. And
Orlinia's going 10.
is going 20. So let's see what Tristan thinks about this. Let's do it.
All right. The only wrong answer here would be checking. Checking would be a mistake just because this is a board that we want to see bet mostly with our whole range. There might be some hands we don't bet here, but we have queen high, so it's kind of mandatory we bet so we can fold out better hands, and so we can also start applying pressure to a weak range. So I went with a bet of 10 and a small bet just to start the betting and keep the aggression and keep your range somewhat in a value-esque sense is kind of mandatory in this spot. And the nit calls. The turn is a 7 of spades. They check to us. What should we do from here on out? Should we check? Should we bet 25? Or should we bet 40?
Ruh-roh. C-bet gets called. Now what are we doing, guys? 7 on the turn. Do we double barrel? Do we run for our lives? What's the plan?
Davini right away just snap checks. So we
Snap checks. No contemplation on that one.
No 3-minute bank for a flop decision. Snap checks a turn. Stinky going.
Jay out there checking right away.
Hey,
Everyone
Jalito,
else.
good morning, my dude. How you
Stun
doing?
silence. Bovine checking. Stormer Norman hates giving up, but might? Question mark. Does that mean you're double barreling Norman? And if so, how much? 40. Tita's not giving up. She's not
Bet
scared.
40 or a check. I'm giving up. That's why we went large on the flop. We continue on a 9 or 10, maybe king as well, Bev says.
25 for T-Law.
Damn, just more. Everybody's just barreling. Mostly barrels and a couple checks.
What's Nit's range here? That's a good question, Tom. That's the
Check.
ultimate
Not
question,
many
right?
draws out there, and we don't have any equity against an ace.
Give up
Okay,
or
did
bet 40, Bruce.
did Arlenia?
My
go?
first check was wrong. Answer it, but I'm still checking here again, says Chip Giddick. 40 for Bruce. I'm sorry, for Beats, and 40 for Arlinia. She's not scared.
So she just wants to just go 60. What's up, Big Town Brown? Yeah, I guess
40. A lot of 40s. A lot of 25s too.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I don't
doing
know.
everything. A lot of checks.
Yeah, I don't think it's interesting here. Like, if we actually perceive him as a nit and him overfolding some hands, like when he shows up here, he's just gonna have some value hands that some ace X he didn't 3-bet. Certainly in his range. Double barreling, we didn't really pick up equity. We just kind of just fold out flush draws, some worse. I think I'm just checking a lot versus a perceived net. I mean, I guess we would double barrel a lot since the flush draw does miss and we're unblocking that. But man, it's interesting.
I think I'm
I
checking.
mean,
too.
if I'm betting, I'm going 40, but 40 or check. I know somebody said that. I wonder if we ran this hand, what it would say.
Yeah, I think I'm checking too. The 7 doesn't really give us any more equity. Like,
If
I
we turn
don't
a gut
think we're
shot, I
folding
like
out
that.
an 8, and he's a nit, so I don't know how much 8x he has, and I don't know. That's just not really the best bluff card. Doesn't really change the board
Like,
texture or anything very much. Are you double blind this one, Brad? This the card? Yup, he's the one.
Going 40. Betting again. I think that minimum defense frequencies for a small bet. Villain's going to defend pretty wide, and we can apply a lot of pressure on a range that is most likely going to tell us right now whether they're capped or not. And the turn bet sets up a pretty good river situation. Basically, I'm going to give away what I'm going to do on a future street, but I think that like really having a plan for why you're betting and then what the follow-up action will be is kind of important and really a big determiner into the strategy that you take on this street will be your playing strategy on the next street.
For sure.
Yeah, because when we go so small on that flop, it's like for MDF, he just has to call super wide. Like he should be calling every pair.
King, queen with a heart.
Some king, like 2 overs to the 8 with a heart, and like he should be calling
9, 10 of clubs.
Like 9, 10 of clubs.
Jack 10
Yeah,
of clubs.
2 overs. Yeah, those backdoor flush draws with 2 overs to an 8 are all calling. So we put a lot of pressure on those. We keep our range strong and uncapped. And
You also keep a lot of pressure on like those middle and small pairs that flat us and don't raise us pre.
I mean, we even start
put a
making
ton of pressure on those hands too.
Yep.
6s, 9s.
I'm going to put pressure on ace jack and ace 10 too.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
yeah, like we start making some of his suited aces, weak aces, like make those indifferent for triple barrels. So,
Hi, Parts, Canadian Luke, and King. Thank you for the follows. Is a nit following MDF? I think a nit's still going to follow them just because they're tight.
it's 10
Doesn't
bucks.
mean that they're not going to have solid, tight, fundamentals and still float when they're supposed to, given a small price. It just means they're not the guy who's going to spaz triple off bluff very much or stuff like that.
I mean, even nits are thinking human beings, right?
Sure.
And like, if they're playing poker regularly, they're gonna understand like, just because of how common the 1/3 C bet is, basically they're going to have talked with people. They're gonna have discussed it. They're gonna have thought about how often do I need to continue versus this small bet? Like, why are people using it so often? So like, I think a lot of people have good knowledge around continuing versus 30% bets on the flop nowadays.
Definitely.
Listen
And that
to
might
this.
even be, just because they're a nit doesn't mean they don't have a strategy where they can float us for that small bet, see if we check the turn, then we cap and they try and own us in the river. I mean, they're going to have some strategy, right?
Stuff, yeah.
Cool. I think we're betting 40 is what our linear did. Yep.
Let's go. I mean, we're checking, but I like 40 a lot. Shit. All right, let's do it.
Bet 40
So
it
in
is.
this spot, checking becomes a little more advantageous.
8.
it's
Yeah.
credible for us to bet the flop and then want to check back the turn and pot control with some kind of showdown. So if you did select check here, I gave you 8 points. I think that's fine, actually. Although with queen high and blocking some big ace X's like ace queen and ace jack, we kind of have a good candidate to just barrel off here, especially since we don't block hearts. Now, don't let the title of perceived nit fool you, because I think that's kind of what got into my head in the moment, and that's what made me go with the decision to check. The other options were bet 25, which I gave 6 points, or bet 40. I think betting 40 here on the turn, betting bigger, applies more pressure to a weaker range, so I prefer a bigger bet here with this specific hand. But in game, I went with a check, and I think that could be a slight mistake with this specific hand, but I don't think it's a huge mistake, because if we are up against a nit who has a weak range, well, let's see how they react on the river. And when they check again, now what options do we have, and what do you think we should do? Should we now check? Should we bet 20, or should we bet 35?
So in game we checked, right? So we have to play this as if we check turn. What are we going to do now on the river?
Yep.
Arlenia says, I love this because I normally play cash on Saturday nights. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, cash is fun. Miss it. Whenever I go to Vegas and I go visit Old Toe for the WSOP, I'm playing some 10-hour cash.
I know how you do that shit.
I love
Plays
it.
12 hours of tournaments, then goes and
bust
spends
out.
another 5 or 6 at night in the middle of the night playing cash. And I live here. I'm home
So
sleeping with my wife. Fuck that.
Yeah, but I was like, fuck this. I don't get to do this much. It's too much fun.
Do we have the
All right.
action as played if we check? Oh, this.
Well, we did check the turn.
Yeah,
and
we did check the turn, so now it's
Wait.
as played.
Oh.
And they check river. So they're capped, and the problem here is that, well, we're capped too. Oh, then you're betting 35. As played. Yeah, the famous saying that it's how you know you fucked up in a hand. Anyone who starts it with as played, you know you fucked up. Can't win without a bet.
Dr. King, I think
True
20
talk.
will do. Will says
35 for beats,
Come out with
35
cap,
chip critic.
river check back.
Overbet.
Give him.
Question mark.
Not
That
even an
is
option.
not an option.
What's up,
but
Winter Rim?
something
Good
we
to
can
see
talk
you.
about.
Good afternoon. Good morning. I think we checked back. Davini, what are we doing here, my dude? What up, D Coop? What's up, big dog? Don't check queen high, whatever you do. Yeah, I know, right? But at what cost? Half our stack?
What up, Marlon?
We have 700 bones.
Bet what you feel good about losing is what Jay says. Rep the K.
Diviny's
Rep
doing
the K is
35.
interesting. We can definitely rep a K.
Float the flop, fold this. A lot of our weaker aces can check turn, Davini says. Yeah, we have $700. Yes,
Oh, then he's betting 35. Is Davini ready?
Yeah, Davini said 35. I'm sorry. It's just very fascinating. Chat's very active today. It's awesome.
Yeah. Joel's saying he can't check. Yeah, this is one of those weird spots that both Sixes and I put ourselves in that Brad did not, is that now betting here, I think it gets called a ton by all those middling pairs. So we capped our fucking range on the turn.
But at the same
when
time,
he caps, but he did again kind of cap a bit on the river. I mean, you know I can't control myself. I got bad. I got queen high. My fear is that at 35 we still get called.
I know what you're probably fucking just trying to go super big and
I
this
would pound the life out
You
of
a
it.
real
Trying to
go
get
real polar.
Because every time I
35
talk to
was-
Sixes, I'm like, these fuckers always call 2/3 pot. Like with pocket sixes here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly just
2-5 might be a little different though. I would go for the bigger bet, given these options, and go 35. I might bet pot if I was in game myself.
20 is lower risk reward. It looks more like a value bet. Will says, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think I'm just going 35. Really putting a lot of pressure on any underpair that we may possibly be able to fold out. We certainly have some ace-x in our range that may check back turn. It feels like we'd be betting a lot for value and protection. But I guess it can be credible enough. We blocked some king X that he might float with. So, yeah, just betting and trying to fucking fold out like 10-8 or something. Seems reasonable. What are you thinking here, Brad?
Canadian Luke says we barrel turn, but we didn't. In game, we actually checked. Barreling was the best
Check
answer. Excuse me.
It's hard for me to say because I don't get here like this,
Yeah.
which is frustrating for me because I'm not supposed. It's not supposed to be like this. So a few things. Really, I'm unsure once we take this path because this line is going to be very overbluffed. Bet check bet 20% or bet check bet and then like sub half pot or even the 2/3 sizing. Both of those are going to be pretty much overbluffed. I don't know that we're going to realize a ton of fold equity. It's a situation that I'm not too confident one way or the other. And if I'm the villain here, I would check and pretty much call any size bet. And that's sort of the situation that I'm in. Just because I know from villain's perspective, this spot is overbluffed. And because it's overbluffed, I'm calling anything.
Sure.
But we can't really project what I know onto the specific villain because maybe they overfold in like a bet check bet.
Yep.
It's hard. So I don't really know the best way to navigate given the line that we took. I mean, I think I just check and I don't. It's hard. Basically, what I would do is I would go back and I would study like a bet check bet line and see villain's range composition on like ace high boards with non-flush completing runouts and see how population's reacting and then kind of make my decision from there.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, just the fact that he's a perceived net gives me the indication that he might fold out a third pair, under pair to an 8, something like that, more so than just a straightforward player, especially a loose player when we get here like this. And I completely agree, when we get here, it's just so damn bluff heavy. I mean, it feels like we're setting money on fire a large percentage of the time, but maybe in this instance,
Like if we bet the turn, it's the river's pretty easy. It's just like jam and don't think twice about it, right? Like that's that's the plan, and I think that path is ultimately the highest. It is the highest EV path. It's going to realize the most fold equity. We're going to get folds on the turn, and then we're going to get a lot more folds on the river when we jam too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big ass.
We're going 35.
Do you do any solver work, Brad? And if so, what solver do you use?
I use Pio. I do some. I do a lot of mass data more so than solver work. I live in mass data world.
That's what 6 and I do too. Run every spot against 500 random flops and look for nuance. And
He's getting population data and hand data. Is that what you mean, Brad?
Yeah, mapping out population, seeing
population and getting hands that way. Yeah,
seeing thresholds for realizing fold equity, value thresholds, frequencies, finding any overbluffed, underbluffed spot. Yeah.
Coaching as well, man. He's phenomenal for all you cash game grinders out there. I know we have some that here in the study stream, so probably reach out to him on Twitter if you're interested. But let's get to the hand. We're going to go 35 in this spot.
I think Linnea went 35 too. Let me double check. She did tag me. She did.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so our opponents checked us on every street. They called a bet on the flop. The turn went check. It's likely that they would be betting an ace here on the river. They might even be betting some of their bluffs if they missed hearts or something like that. But either way, even if this is a nitty player, you should still expect them to bet their value on the river once the hand plays out this way. So we have a mandatory bet on the river right now. And any bet you make is going to be fine. Even if you go with a third pot bet or 35-40% pot bet, I think that's going to work out quite well. If we are targeting anything but an ace to fold, let's say this nit has like 8-9 suited, Jack-9 suited. Well, this is a pretty poor run out for those type of hands. Obviously, if we bet small, we're not going to get an ace to fold, but I think any kind of bet sizing is decent here, but I did give the bet 20 a score of 6, and I think a bigger bet is better just because our opponent showed a lot of weakness here. So I think a bet of 35 might get some of the stronger, weaker hands in their range to fold. And don't be scared to pull the trigger here. I know we check the turn, but there are some weak aces that we might have, like ace deuce suited, ace four suited, ace five suited, those type of hands that might want to check back the turn. So I did go with a bet of 35, and that gets a fold from the nit. And the interesting keynote to remember here is just think about how to put together your range and how your hand stacks up with the board that you're representing. Like I said, I had a good hand that I could have just triple barreled with. And also, the value of my hand is awful. Queen high is never really going to win on showdown unless my opponent's range is really wide and they just have like 6-5 of hearts or something that they're going to play very passively. So that's kind of the key takeaway, is really understand your hand strength. And also, the other key here is, what did our opponent do? They checked to us each time, and they didn't really show a lot of interest in this pot either.
Always River Bluff Knits, BTB says. Noted. We got a 25 toe. How'd you do? How did Arlie do?
Swish!
Well, piss. Good job, Arlie.
Arlinia taking the first one down for the Toe Army. Congratulations. We in
job,
this,
baby.
baby. Let me know how you went your money, Arlinia, and I will make sure to get it to you promptly. Someone was asking a question about the mass data. It was funny because I'm actually running Pile as we do this right now.
Well, no, I think the mass data he's
Against,
referring to is versus population.
tendencies too.
Yeah, but not PIO tendencies in that regard. He's probably getting data from hands played and compiling that way, right? Am I assuming? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I was just saying that I'm running Pile right now against 500 random flops in a particular spot as we do this. All right, new keyword.
Know what it is over here. You already know. The cat jam, baby.
New keyword, poker greatness, all one word.
Oh shit! I already did cat jam. But,
Cat jam.
We'll do
All
poker,
right, we can do cat jam.
we'll do poker greatness.
You love your fucking cat jam. All right, cat jam in the chat. We changed it, Jay. Cat jam. All one word. CATJAM.
We'll do.
It makes
Chasing
funny
Poker
emotes
Greatness.
in Six's channel. Worst, thank you for the sub, buddy. I appreciate that, man. Is there a poker site in New Jersey that lets you play with players outside of New Jersey? Yes. Globalpoker.com, betonline.au, ACR, America's Card Room, all available to you in New Jersey, I believe. I think you can even play on Ignition as well.
All right.
Hey, I appreciate that, Worst. Guys, if you are new or joining late, we do this every Saturday, noon Eastern. This is the pokercoaching.com study session stream, !PC in my chat, !PC in Six's chat, where you can sign up for free. Get the free content, guys. It's great content. It's free. I mean, you got nothing to miss out on. If you sign up for premium, you get a bunch of quizzes, homeworks, webinars, all that good stuff. Go check it out. Also, if you like this one or you missed the beginning and you want to catch up, we put all these on the YouTube channel, !YouTube in the chat. And you can go watch this one. You can watch any of the guests we've had in the past. You can watch the ones with me and Sixes. It's all there for you. If you ask any questions after the fact to a guy like Brad, I will make sure he gets them and get you some answers. All right. Shilling
going back to the
done.
Twins.
Let's draw winners.
I'm going back and I'm like looking. This is like only people making cash content is really like Tristan and Lexi.
They got to
Now
get
we
Brad.
have some Brad
Brad's
stuff. I
got
know we
like
gotta
40
get
in the
some-
can.
I make them. They're just not there.
I can't wait. Yeah. Not saying there's anything wrong with these cash quizzes, but more variety is better.
Show Brad some love. Hashtag show Brad some love. Let JL know we need to get his quizzes on the site. Also, let JL know that he needs to come on here, and we're willing to do a weekday one just to get him.
Yeah, the weekday.
Toe Army's been going after him.
I know.
He's been tweeting him like crazy.
And he's like, no, guys, my kids.
We'll do a special weekday one just for JL. We'll talk to him.
All right. We're rolling it.
All right. We're rolling it. Caution.
Turn one. Turn one, my dude. Congrats, buddy. Thank you for those babies.
So we're doing cash all day. We'll throw in some tournaments ones too, Cap.
Yeah, but let's do another cash one right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning a lot as well. And
Pick a quiz number. I gotta send our linear money so I don't forget.
We can do this. Lexi 1188.
1188. Let's do it. 510 too. We're getting up there in cash.
Yep.
We're out of the normal rec kick
I don't
levels.
think I've ever played 510. Maybe some games that play like 510, some 3-6 with a straddle. All
Let's
right.
do it. Ready to roll?
Yep.
You ready, Brett? 1188.
I think so. Could you tell me the quiz number again? Sorry.
1188. You had the perplexed brow going on, so I thought I would ask.
Yeah, I was trying to find that spot in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said the number. Yeah. 1188. What's
Ready?
up, Indy Tuber Brew? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hey everyone, Lexi Gavin here. Today we're going to go over a hand I played at a 510 no limit cash game. We have King, Queen of Diamonds under the gun. We are only 6-handed, so we're going to open it up to 30. Call from the small blind and a call from the big blind, who I have labeled as a high stakes pro. Flop is ace of clubs, 10 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds. Checks to us. What should we do? Should we check, bet 60, or bet $80?
These sizes just going hard. Let's go. Check. 60 or 90. What do you guys like? Shove. Flush draw, straight draw. Small blind, big blind call. What do we like here, guys? 60, 60, 60, 60. Combo draw, rip dashes. Big Town Brown is checking.
All right, lot 60 just streaming in my chat. Jamlance doing 80. Dollar Bill doing 80. What up, Acting Long? How you doing, buddy?
Have a good equity. I like 40 or 50 better, but I guess 60 is fine. Yeah, so right away, term goes 60. Did your person go?
Custom betting 60, yep.
Brad, what are you doing here, buddy? I think, personally, I would probably use a size smaller than 60 in position here. But as in cash games, are we like for a tournament, I'm just going to not use 60.
I think that like past conventional wisdom in multi-way spots is to make larger bets. However, the theory is kind of catching up, and so I think that nowadays 1/3 is very appropriate here. I don't see the sizing that I would actually use, because I would just go 30. Typically, in multi-way spots where you don't have as many bluffs, because you don't have as many bluffs, you don't have to size up with your c-bet. So I go 30 here. I guess if I am choosing one of the two, then I go 60, because that's the smallest.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same, and the tournament strategy for us is exactly the same. We would go 30. I know I'm speaking for sixes, but I know him too well. He's going 32. And given the option, I guess we go 60 as well. Absolutely. Big Dizzle and Loud, thank you for the follows.
But I just noticed that's something when I do go play cash games, like
people all
the C bets are bigger. Like everybody just goes big as hell all the time. So it's like I don't know.
I think like polarizing turn bets going big is very common. It makes a lot of sense, and then some more polarizing river bets. But like flop is just this is kind of like, to me, a disconnect between the live world and the online world, and how it often takes the live world time to catch up to the more efficient strategies. And more, if we're talking about efficiency, I think like 1/3 is just the best here.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
All right, Tristan, 60 it is. 60 for Costin, 60 for you, 2 sixes.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it and find out.
So here I gave checking a score of 4 points, bet 60 a score of 10 points, and bet 80 a score of 3 points. So I like to continue barreling here. We have the second nut flush draw and a gutter to Broadway. We can represent all of the ace-x combinations, aces, pocket tens, pocket sevens, ace 10. So all of those hands are in our range, ace king, ace queen. So this hits us pretty nicely. We also kind of have to worry a little bit about the small blind's range. The small blind can certainly be flatting hands like pocket tens and sevens and ace 10 suited probably. So I don't think he'd be calling ace 7 suited. And then the big blind is going to have a whole bunch of junky hands because he's getting a good price. This doesn't really hit him as much. I mean, he could definitely have hands like 9-8 suited or queen jack, hands like that. He normally would have a lot of suited hands, but because we have diamonds, we block his chances of having diamonds. So don't really have to worry about him as much as we do have to worry about the small blind. So we decide to bet 60. I like this sizing. You want to go a little bit on the bigger side because it is a wet texture. And we get a raise from the high stakes pro to 165. So now what should we do? Should we fold, call, or raise to 400?
Who's folding? Don't lie to me.
The full option is there, guys. Who's doing it? Who's shook? In position. Who's shook?
I feel like I just heard a whole slew of thoughts go through Brad's mind. He didn't say anything, but his facial expressions when I said fold were pretty funny.
400.
Everybody call. Call.
I haven't seen any Big Town Browns going 400. We ain't scared of shit. He
says call, but tank for 35 minutes. Just slow roll. Jam it fast so he gets a timing tell, says Tom. Opposite strategies.
I don't know why she doesn't think A7 can be in the small blinds range. I don't know. Just a few things.
Technically, the small blind shouldn't have a range here. Like the fact that they're
flatting,
the fact that they're flatting in the small blind leads me to believe that they're a weaker player that isn't super fundamentally strong. Because even in the last hand where it was a perceived nit flatting in the small blind, like that's just not a thing in cash games like that. That's a spot that's 3-bet or fold, and you could make a deviation if you have like a whale in the big blind. But besides that, it's just. It shouldn't be a thing because the downside of flatting in the small blind is like, how do you protect that range from big blind squeezes? Like, are you going to flat some good hands? And then if you start flatting good hands, like, where do you take those good hands from? Your 3-bet range. So basically, like, having a flat range just creates all sorts of complexity that makes all your ranges harder to manage. And so anyway, with that said, since it's not a thing, I think they could have A7 suited. Like, that's a hand that. Or sevens, I think those are two hands that make a lot of sense flatting from the small blind for somebody that doesn't really understand how pre-flop ranges kind of work.
Yeah, if they are gonna flat and make that mistake, those are the type of hands that
generally. Yeah, it feels kind of dismissive of the ranges at play. It's just, but at the same time, yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, when we get check raised here, I really don't.
Another benefit to betting smaller is that when we get check raised here, it's not as expensive.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's very easy to continue arrive at future nodes when you bet small and get check raised. And like, that's kind of a thing you want when you have this kind of hand.
Everybody calling? Brad, you're calling? You raising?
I'm calling. Right? I'm calling. I mean, it's
we're all calling, right?
Slam dunk call.
Cool. You can't do anything.
I agree. Let's call and find out.
I do want to make a point though that like. Because this is a slam dunk call, I would be very hesitant to bet 3-betting a hand like sets or 2-pair, because my suspicion is that if we are bet 3-betting, it's going to be very underbluffed and going to get us in all kinds of problem spots. So my range here would be pure flat.
Yep.
Me too.
I would just call everything. Call.
So folding is a non-option. I gave calling a score of 10 and raised to 400 a score of 7. So really, this is just a pot odds question. So there's 315 in the pot. It's 105 more to call. So we're getting roughly 3-1, which means we have to be good 25% of the time. And with our flush draw plus straight draw, 9, 10, 11, 12, we have about 12 outs, if I'm doing that right. So we have roughly 48% equity. So I think we should definitely be calling just purely based on math. So that's what we do. And we hit the straight. So he bets 240. So what should we do now? Fold, call, or go all in?
Bink! With the nut redraw. It's the dream. What are we doing now?
Or shove.
Are we giving away equity by not raising? The problem is that on a board like this, like you don't have any fold equity with your raises, right?
Well, you just get better.
And if we brick turn, we're kind of in a shitty spot.
Well, we have basically it's are we going to derive more value from bet 3 betting the flop or arriving at a future node? Like it's not a lock that our opponent is not polarized here and has hands like queen jack off or king jack off and checks on the turn, which is a good result for us. So like they check, we get a stab. So yeah, like calling, seeing what happens is often underrated in that future data point and villain's future action, especially in position. Like you bet 3 bet, you're giving away your positional advantage for the rest of the hand, and that's something that ought to be pretty heavily considered.
Yep.
Very good point. Very good point. Worst waiting another 35 minutes and calling. He's just slow rolled down. This guy. This is a 2.5 hour hand for worst. Yeah, cool. Cost of calling. What's your guy doing?
Oh, we're just snap calling. I mean, we just don't. I don't see the purpose in raising. Our hand doesn't need any protection. We keep bluffs in worse value hands. So I mean, I'm just only calling here with the hand that's good for sure.
Absolutely agree. I don't think raising here does much. I think it's.
I mean,
I don't think we have any bluffs either. So you know what I mean? Like, and we have position, so we can always bet the river if he checks.
Any bluff is basically turning a pair into a bluff at this point, I think.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. Cool. We're calling.
I clicked it.
Oh, you clicked it. Oh, shit. We're clicking it.
Okay, so this is an interesting spot. Obviously, folding is a non-option. I gave that a score of 0. I gave calling a score of 10 and going all in a score of 6. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm starting to like going all in a little bit more. I think it's very close. I think because we block diamonds, we already have the nuts, so we don't. It's less likely that we're going to hit the diamond on their river. So I think that letting him continue to barrel into us. I mean, we are in position. If he did have 9-8, he's most likely going to be shoving the river. So I think for those reasons, it's okay to call, but I also think it's good to go all in as well to get direct value from 8-9. Maybe he has a set of 10s or 7s that he might check the river back with. But here we just flat, and the river is a 5 of spades, and he checks. We go all in, of course, and he calls, and he has ace-10 suited. So maybe we should have shoved the turn. Maybe not. It's close. But anyway, it worked out. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.
Concede some action killing rivers. Concede a merit in shoving turn to target 2 pair hands. No, I'm really a fan of just always calling with this hand. I think they can still make mistakes. We keep in bluffs, and some of those same value hands are still going to stack off often enough. And we give the rest of the range, including hands that maybe miss bluffs. I don't know. I just prefer
if diamonds gets it on the river, they check and we jam, they're folding ace-10.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think they might fold ace-10 if we raise the turn.
I do too.
And I think they should fold ace-10 if we raise the turn.
Absolutely. We're not going to like randomly turn ace-king or ace-queen into a jam on the turn or raise on the turn here. So 8-9 got there. What will we have as a bluff on the turn? You know, so yep.
Even if we had ace-jack, would you raise the turn?
No.
No.
Hell no.
Right?
Can't raise anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. We're just calling entire range. So when we do start raising, ace-10 is like, holy shit.
We're not even raising ace-jack, so it's
bluffs.
like, we're probably not raising our sets. So it's like, it's literally king-queen. Like, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean...
And bluffs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what hand you would turn into a bluff there.
Semi-bluffs, maybe some very strong semi-bluffs, but I don't know. Hey, Fallon with
9-10. I guess like 9-10. 9-10 might be a hand.
We're stretching. Cool.
7-8. Something that blocks the 8-9 and blocks the sets. I think like 7-8 might make some sense.
Wait a minute, let's just do
raise on the turn.
CPG. Chasing poker.
Wally and Lori, thank you for the follows.
Were you going to type it all out? Chasing poker greatness for the keyword, or I just put CPG?
I just put poker greatness is what I was going
poker greatness. Okay, I like that.
What score did you get before you run off?
Oh, yes. Let me see. I think we fucking nailed it, honestly.
We got a swish.
Hey, we did too.
Oh, shit.
Oh, it's time.
All
we got to
right,
do a
guys.
flip for turn 1.
It's time for the dreaded coin flip.
Oh, we're batting like fucking 80% lifetime in these things, so.
It's time for the dreaded coin flip.
Thanks, Fallon.
All right, guys.
Last night. Team Iggy.
Who's calling it? Heads or tails?
Turn one. Heads or tails? Don't mess this up for us.
We got to win a flip, Army.
You get 10 seconds. You get 5 seconds. He says tails.
Tails. All right, we're flipping it.
All right. Hold on, I gotta see it. What is it?
It's tails.
Let's go.
We lose every flip. We do. We lose every quiz flip. Oh no! Congratulations, Sixes Mafia. You got it. Flip it again.
Makes me so happy.
We run bad in quiz flips.
All right,
Poker greatness, all one word in the chat, guys, for you to be
Poker
the next winner.
greatness.
Carlson, I'm sorry, buddy. You did hella good.
Yep, Poker greatness in the chat. You know what time it is? I think we get into a Faraz one. I want to see some deep breakdown. I need to be like wrong and like see the light. You know, get put in my place real quick by Faraz.
That's true, Cap. The only way the Mafia beats us is by these flips. They can't beat us straight up. We're too good.
We run better, baby.
We're too good.
And nothing's wrong with running good.
You want to do 1186?
I think we King 8 suited. Ooh, one of my favorite hands. Yeah, let's do it.
1186
versus limpers in the versus. Yep. So we'll do 1186.
Moneymaker the other day. I missed it, but I'm gonna watch replay. I heard it was really, really good. Faraz did a hand history review with Moneymaker where they both went deep in an ACR tournament together. Made a final table or something. They did it on stream. It looks really good.
Congrats, Term. Make sure to whisper me, my dude, and icing on the cake for his third place, finishing at 3K. Hell yeah, my dude.
Oh,
congrats. Shit. All right, I'm ready to roll it.
All right, me too.
Poker greatness, guys. If you want to get in there last second, go
ahead. They did it on Chris Moneymaker's Twitch stream, Jamblance. You can watch the VOD there.
What up, so broke, bro? Breezy.
Winner for the Toe Army, the legend Mendo Bruce. Coming in for the tournament hand history. Let's find out.
XBBT. What up, my dude? What's up, so bro? We got Brad Wilson in the house. It's been an awesome stream, man. I'm learning as well. That's the great thing about this. We get to have these guests on, and I'm a student of the game, so we get to learn from this, and it's a pretty cool experience, man.
Sixes
literally makes me want to get cash coaching. I just want to start playing.
Sixes and I study every day, all day anyway. So we were going to do this with or without you. It's just funner with you guys. So we get super lucky.
Ready to go. Hell yeah. All right, 1186.
Ready to rock.
8 suited. I am ready.
Let's do it.
Here we are playing a live 5-10 no limit cash game. We have a bad player who limps under the gun. A passive player that limps on the button.
Nice one, Julius.
Is it cash?
Small blind also limps, and it's just in the big blind. So here we're gonna have the option to
I don't know how
check.
How it's 5-10 antes cash.
Raise it up to 450, or raise it up to 600.
I think he misspoke.
He did misspeak. He did say cash. I'm like, didn't I see 51? It's tournaments. Bad player, shots fired.
Jay checking, Tina squeezing. It says in the top corner 5-10. It says 50. Oh yeah, but it's 50-100 blinds with a 10 ante. So, Roz was smoking that shit when he made this. I don't know if he really does that. I'm just kidding, guys. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Check. It's a couple of squeezes. Hollywood squeezed in. Dennis squeezed in. Arlinia squeezed in.
Check.
Worst
450 or 600.
Check. Never an option here. It says machine gun. But that's what machine gun's always going to say, right?
Machine gun going 600, of course. Based on the bad player info, raise to ISO him and push out the passive guy. Okay.
Dollar bill going 600. 600 for machine gun. Cost him 450. Who's our winner? Bruce. What are you doing, Bruce?
XVVT, come on, buddy. Let's not make us wait 3 minutes for a decision. Let's be quick with these, so we can get in a couple more.
Joel going 600 and squeeze in 450 for Bruce.
Woo-wee. 450. Okay, we still waiting on XVVT.
Tom says he's squeezing 2 people, but he's not squeezing 3 or more.
Guess this is super easy to squeeze when it's not your money and you don't have to actually pull the trigger, right?
Breach channeling his in your machine gun and squeezing.
Look at my. Why isn't my table doing that? See that, guys? That was weird. XVT is going 600.
All right. Bruce going 450. Toe is checking.
I mean, I find I just find it standard check here, not try to play out of position, even versus a bad player, because the passive players and these guys may just flick it in a lot, and then we're going to be in reverse and glide out situations. It's just going to be too tricky. I find checking here a lot, but I don't know, Brad. You ever mix in some ISOs with this particular hand at these stack depths at a position?
I don't know. Again, this is not my world. This is a different world. So, like, it depends on how bad the player is. I guess that's really what everything hinges on. Like, how bad are they? If they're really, really bad, then I can see ISOing making a lot of sense, because we can make really good decisions even out of position based on reads, based on whatever. So, like, that would shift it for me to ISOing. What I would typically do would be to check and then go from there. Reach the flop and try to make decent decisions after we get some more information.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, if the passive player is never gonna like overcall on the button and we get to just always play versus the bad player even out of position, we should print.
I think one thing that I would like to say, though, is like the suited kings are probably the most undervalued pre-flop hand that I see people. They will call raises with 6-8 suited and in the same blind level fold king 4 suited, when king 4 suited has just way more equity and is just a much better hand. So I will say that, like, king 8 suited, I mean, that we're getting close to like UTG open territory, and it's probably okay to just raise it up 6x and then kind of go from there with king 8. Like, but it's getting close to my threshold of like king 7. I don't know, king 6, probably a pure check. So I waffle. Basically, I could see ISOing 6x or checking. I think 4.5x doesn't make any sense, though.
For sure.
I like it.
For sure. And Sixes talks about that a lot with me when we studied together. He loves them suited kings. He's all about them.
This is my hand. Yeah, if I'm going to do something in this spot, like, this is where we start, right? And if we want to start ISOing, this feels like...
and the fact that the bad player limped, which is good, and there's a passive player, which makes it kind of a better ISO, too. I could definitely see the argument for that, given the dynamics of the table. For sure. For sure. Chip Critic, thank you, my friend. Thank you for that gift sub. We are going 450 though.
Yep, we're going 600. Let's do it. Like it for Ross. Come on.
So this is actually a spot that I think a lot of players just auto check here, being really happy to just go see a flop. And if these limpers were good, tough players, I would definitely just be checking here. But when you have weak passive players behind, just limping weak ranges are going to be easier to play against post flop. This becomes a really good spot to isolate. And you want to go big here. You don't want to raise small. You're not trying to go 4-way with king 8 suited. You're not raising because this is an amazing hand. You're raising because if you can get heads up versus the weaker player, then it's not going to be too hard to outplay them with their weak range. So we go ahead and bump it up here to 600, and we get a call from the undergun bad player, and the button folds, which is good. We really didn't want to be out of position versus 2 players. Small blind called, not a big deal. We have position on them, so that's great. Flop comes 10-5-3, 2 diamonds and a heart. Checks to us. Our options here are going to be to check, to c-bet for 700, or to c-bet to 1500.
All right, guys. We got ourselves into this mess. Are we checking or are we shooting our way out? What's the plan?
If these limpers were good, tough players, yeah, there's definitely some super good, tough players out there to limp, man. I played with James Carroll. This cat limped a lot, and he was fucking playing super well.
That's one thing about Ryan LaPlante that I think makes him a little different than a lot of other players. Is that he's got a really good solid limp strategy as well. There's not many players that have one.
Yeah, it's very good if you have one.
Worst plan is to panic in this situation. That's what he says. C-bet for Tom. Shootout for Julius. A lot of people firing 700. Bruce is checking, though. Dennis going 700.
The Mafia is shook. Everybody too scared to say what they're doing. Never checking. I go for one big bet, then I shut down and nothing changes. Ask the dealer for a seat change button mid-hand. I'm never checking here. 700, 1500, and then check. I'm going to say 700 versus 1500 because bad players really don't understand bet sizing, even though we should be bigger on this flop. XVT going 700. He doesn't really know why, but he's doing it because he can never give up.
Bruce checking in the middle here. Chip Critic pleading the fifth.
What we do with Jack? 1500 to protect versus 2. Okay. But XVT going 700. Did
Bruce checking?
And Bruce is checking. Tell you ever stabbing here?
Not in the middle. I'm checking here in the middle for sure. Myself. If I had jacks.
God damn, this board's so dry, man.
I have jacks. I feel like I would mix C-bet and check. I'd probably C-bet more, though. Here, I'm just checking in the middle, though. We got threatening range behind, and yeah, check.
Never just want to go 700 and then just bomb gut turns. That's kind of where my heart is, but I don't know. Range is super kind of wide. We still keep our range strong and uncapped. We get to barrel a lot of cards. Kind of on maybe team 700, but in the middle, I don't know. This bad player just has such a wide weak range, and we're in position of the small blind. So I don't know. Just betting here, seeing how the rest of the hand develops, and turning my hand into a complete bluff could be a thing, but I don't know.
We got the king high, man.
We have the king high. What the fuck else? I mean, give up.
It doesn't. We're not turning it into a bluff. It is a bluff.
It started as a bluff. It's still a bluff.
Yeah, it's still a bluff. Yeah, it's 700 for me. What are you thinking here, Brad?
I think it's most likely just a pure check. I would start value betting my 10x probably at 1/3, just because for the multi-reason dynamic, multiplayer dynamic that we talked about earlier, and why we don't need to risk so much with our value portion of our range, but we do need to have some checks. And we got the king and the 8. This is a pretty dynamic board where there's lots of equity shifting turns, overcards, flush completing turns, 6s, 7s, deuces, 4s.
Yeah,
it's really hard to navigate here, and I think that we're not gonna realize enough fold equity with one bet, and so we need a multi-bet strategy. And I'm not ultra confident out of position playing against a bad player that I want to. I guess that this is the inherent problem with building a big pot here out of position pre-flop with the king and the 8, is we get ourselves in these spots and don't really have a clear plan to navigate.
Yeah, I mean, and now we're multi-way in the middle, sandwiched in the middle. Yeah,
loaded.
You don't know what the hell this guy's range is.
All bad things.
Bad, right? All right, let me make sure we get
PokerStar says, hi, Coach Brad from the Greatness Village.
Yo, what's up, man?
The Greatness Village, I like that. So we're going 700. That's what XVVT is. Let's see what Faraz thinks about.
We're going much smaller. We're checking. Let's find out.
Right. Check.
So King 8 suited is probably going to be one of the few hands we definitely want to check here most times. We just don't have much going for us. We have no backdoors. No backdoor flush draw, no backdoor straight draw. So really just one of the worst boards for our hand. That said, I actually decided to bet here, and my reasoning was this player was just so wide, and the other player, because I had position on, I felt a little more comfortable. And I also felt like the small blind was just calling extra wide because He also knew, the under the gun player was a really bad player, and he just wanted to be in pots with him. So I kind of made an exception and bet here. So I will give some points, some decent points for betting small if you kind of bet because the bad player being there. But generally, definitely just checking here. And if we are going to bet, of course, we want to go the small bet, because we're betting really wide at this point, and we're just trying to exploit, this player for, probably folding too much or, calling way too wide pre-flop. So we bet small, and the turn came a king, obviously a great card for us. So now we're going to have the option to check, to bet 1,700 or to bet 2,400.
See, you just bet and get there. That's all you got to do. You just bet and then you get there.
Easy game.
Easy game. So he was kind of talking about some of the reasons why I thought he might stab in this spot, like pre-flop, just like this guy's so bad, and then the guy behind just calling so wide. Even though we have dog shit, he wanted to stab. I get it, but yeah, these guys are right. We should be just checking here. We really don't have much going for us, and we're not going to get too many folds. But yeah, what are we doing here, guys? Checking, betting 1,700 close to half pot, or going the 2,400. Winter ring going 1,700. 24 now for show.
Yeah. Let's see what's going on here. Check. That's good. Chip Critic, it was definitely right. Dilly squat indeed. 1700s strolling through the chat.
I mean,
2,400 for Carlson, 2,400 for Dollar Bill, 1,700 for Hollywood. Jay Roman going third pot. We're scoring 2,400. Arlinia got cussed at the tables the other night. Guys like, how do you just get there every time? I mean, that's the story of my poker career. Bruce going 2,400.
Bruce is going 24.
24 to get so many folds.
As is Big Dunna, as is XVBT. Everybody's saying we have to bet. I ain't seen a check out there, and mostly 2,400s and some 17s sprinkled in there. So yeah, XVBT going 24. So.
Yeah, Bruce going 24 too. It's mixed in my chat. I'm gonna size up here a bit too and go 2,400 as well. I think the 10x and the diamonds still come along, and so let's get that value. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would tend to upsize here as well. It gives us a better SPR to just jam.
Mm-hmm. That too.
Clean as well. I mean, it just sets up a better SPR. Are we going to be able to go?
Am I the only one that even entertains checking here on the turn?
Oh,
I feel like
so far,
everybody out there, I haven't seen one. The thing with checking is like, is a bad player gonna
start bluffing?
What kind of bad player is this? This is an aggressive bad player that's just going to overstab, or is he just one that's always just going to, I don't know. What do you think?
The thing is, like, he's going to have a lot of one-pair type hands, a lot of low equity type hands. Like, top pair has just almost all the equity versus any sort of middling or bottom pair. I don't know, like, I know that after flop C-bets, overcards typically are overfolded, and that's kind of a problem with maximizing value here, because like when you bet the turn, not only do you betting the turn is not always just betting the turn. Betting the turn is also threatening the river. And I think that even weak players feel that when they face the turn bet, they imagine that the river bet is coming, and that puts a lot more pressure on them. So I'm mixed. My opinion is mixed, and like I think checking and then even overbet ripping some runouts feels pretty good. But I don't think check should be just outright dismissed. And I'm probably not going big either. I think like half pot, if I am betting here, makes sense to set up a river shove, keep villain's range wide, given the whole 3 easy installment plan.
Yeah, I didn't see. I thought we're deeper than villain as well. He has 6K. We have closer to 9, so 17 does still threaten, and we can still just get the money in with 17. Shit, I didn't pay attention to that. That's good. Still checking. I feel like we just have 3 streets of value here when we turn it, and we still get called by enough. And I agree. I would go with the smaller bet here.
This is the MTT streets, right? Like this is a different level. You know, it's a different player profile. Like basically, like with the king. With the king, I mean, we're pushing equity, but we're pushing equity against a lot of very weak hands. And when we push equity against a lot of very weak hands, how many of those end up folding? And I'm assuming that like we're folding versus turn jams. I mean, we kind of have to be folding versus turn jams, I would think.
Turn jams or river jams?
Turn. If you bet the turn.
Oh, if we bet and they jam.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you. That'd be nasty as all fuck.
Yeah, and he's a limp, and he limps and then makes this line. It would be so nasty. But yeah, I don't see what really will be.
My only caveat to folding, like
I
would fold normally, but like it's bad player, so is bad player going to go crazy with
going to go jam queen, jack of diamonds, or something like that. Jack 9 of diamonds.
I think even a smaller bet here might even make sense. Like
sure.
1/3, 800, or not 800. What is 1/3? 1,000, like 1,100 maybe.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I
1254. I got the
There's a lot of different options here. Let's.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Faraz thinks. In this
Bruce
spot. We're going as is XVBT. So let's see what that's. Yep.
Likes a smaller bet.
Here,
yeah, sure.
I definitely like betting. This card definitely hits our range, way more than the other player, and we just don't want to let them get away. With the free river card, especially when we could get paid. I went with the 1700 sizing. It was tempting to go bigger when you just think about, how great this card is for our range, and we get to put a lot of pressure on him. But being that it's a bad player, I'm not super concerned with being GTO here. And I'm really just asking myself, how do I make sure I get paid from a 10? How do I maybe keep a 5 in? How do I maybe keep pocket 8s in? And, if a 10 folds here, it's really bad for us. So I didn't want to risk betting 2,400 and scaring them off 10. So that's why I went with the 1,700 sizing. And this is a spot where we could just be, really unbalanced if we want to. And when we have ace queen or something like that, or ace 4, or just some complete airball, go big. And we have something we really want to get called by, go a little bit smaller. So, and like I said, if we're playing a GTO player, we're going to think about that slightly differently. But, we did get called here. And river is a 4. We can go all in here for about a pot size bet. Or sorry, less than pot size bet. Opponent only has 4,500 left. So we can shove them all in, or we can check.
Going all in and call 4,500, which I think is bet 4,500, is the same option, right?
Yeah.
He jacked this quiz up all kinds of different ways.
Yeah, he just is all over the place. 2 options. So it's pretty much check or shove. Check or shove, guys.
Check or shove. Chip Critic crushing this one. Let's go.
Yeah, it's interesting because I would see the turn is like kind of what Faraz is saying. Sometimes we're going to be in that spot with like a hand like ace jack or ace queen that we decided to ISO with. And maybe we just stab flop, and then we would just use this turn card as a barrel 100% of the time versus those ranges. So
you have to.
Yeah, you would have to. So having the king, he wants to also have his value in there as well. And I like how he discussed splitting his range between the bet sizing, because it's nice. He also still has the SPR set up nicely to jam. So the smaller bet is just great. So does a bad player ever bluff a busted flush draw? I don't like check calling here. Wait, is open
We
fold
got a
an
decent
option
mix
here?
between checking and jamming in my chat.
Yeah, it's open fold. I think that's
Just open
fold.
fold.
Got to protect your open folding range.
Have we made the submission yet, or
we're waiting for
Bruce is
XBT
jamming.
is all in 10. Yep, they're both jamming. So yeah, what are you thinking here, Brad?
Oh, it's slam dunk
It's
jam.
slam,
I mean,
it's
what
just
do you
jam,
can't.
Can't- I don't like checking.
We're gonna count on the guy that limp pre-flop, called a bet on the flop, called a bet on the turn to start betting on the river.
Passives don't bet.
Let's play into the nature of this villain and just jam.
Yep, 1, 2, 3.
And he might even call you with the 10 just because there's a busted draw out there. A couple busted straight draws too.
Yeah, he's a bad player.
It's hard to project, you know.
It is.
He made 10x just might be his favorite hand. You never know. Maybe he doesn't like the way you look. Maybe he's bored. Like who knows?
He's spy. I'm hero calling. You got ace queen, right, buddy? You never know. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, we're jamming.
All in.
All right. I wonder if it's different points for go all in or call 4,500.
I think betting all in here is okay.
Yeah, this
I'm
quiz
not
is we're going to
crazy about it, but I think it is reasonable in the sense that if this is a bad player, he might make some bad call downs. But on the other hand, we have a king with an 8 kicker. You know, opponent could have had something like king queen, king jack. You know, who knows? Maybe even ace king. So really not crazy about our kicker. So, you know, when we do get called here, you know, our opponent could have some ace deuce, could have hands like pocket fours, fives, threes, and our opponent could also have draws that missed. So I think it's hard to think of a lot of hands we definitely are going to get called by if we bet, considering we have no kicker. And then on the flip side of that, by checking, we might induce some jams because there's certainly some draws out there that missed, especially the flush draw, you know, maybe even a queen jack. So I really like checking. I went ahead and checked, player shoved, and no need for quiz here. We're definitely calling. And opponent ended up showing up with, doesn't show, opponent actually had 5-6 here, which I was pretty surprised to see 5-6, but I did check to induce a bluff. I was mainly trying to induce a bluff out of a flush draw.
So
it work,
check
nonetheless.
was the correct answer, and all in was 5.
Yeah.
So we got we got a 5. You got a 5 correct.
The thing is, Bruce said bet 4,500 or call 4,500, but the choices are wacky, right? So
he got a 5. Yeah, he got a 5. So Bruce got a 5. We got a 23 that quiz.
We got a 21.
Oh ho ho!
Eked it out.
Eked it out. XVBT. What's up, my dude? Hit me up, man.
All 10s for Mike. Hey.
Good job, guys.
Bad player remains a bad player. True.
Yeah, and he
tag is appropriate.
There, didn't think he could get called off wide enough by going 1, 2, 3. And I mean, he thought this player might just turn shit into a bluff. So very good.
The irony is if the turn goes check check, then we just get to confidently value bet our top pair and know that pretty much any pair calls us too.
True.
But Faraz got it all somehow. I mean, by bet checking, because there's more money in a pot on the turn. Where if we would have checked the turn, it would still be the 33, and then we would only be check calling whatever he bets, right? Because we couldn't check jam and get called by worse.
It's true.
Yeah. So Faraz gets it all because he's a fucking savage.
But we have like multiple different lines, right? Like checking villain betting big, checking villain betting small, checking villain checking back. I mean, these are all future data points that we can realize and be able to navigate. Like I think
he might go check call turn. He might bet big on turn and then turn it into a bluff again on a river, right? You know,
he could jam rivers. Like if he's gonna bluff,
snap him off.
Yeah. Yep. So it's hard to know. That's why poker is such a fun game. Like we got the optimal result, which is great. And now it's like we found a good line. Is there a potential better line? And like comparing all the possible different lines and going through it, I think it's a thing that makes poker interesting, in my opinion.
Yep. Endless fun, guys.
Mixed frequencies.
All right, cool. You want to do another keyword? We probably have time for like
I think we got one more. I think probably
one more for sure.
Usually.
Yes, sir.
All right, next keyword. Do you have a famous word that's associated with you, Brad? Do you have like
famous?
Do you have like a slogan?
They just said the greatness family.
Greatness.
What was it?
Oh,
greatness bombs. I think that's a thing that.
Greatness bombs.
That's a thing that happens.
Greatness bombs. All one word.
Greatness bombs.
Greatness bombs in the chat. All one word. And while you guys are doing that, we will pick another quiz.
All right, has to be cash. Where's Faraz play cash?
We haven't done an Evan Jarvis cash. I'm sure.
Oh shit! Wait a minute. We got the we're behind on the Casino Niagara series.
We can do that one if you want. You want to do the Ace Jack? 1185.
You remember that one we did was kind of sus. It was super quick. But no, wait a minute. Let me see. Yeah, we can do that.
Cool.
Wanted to do cash. Oh man.
We can do cash.
I do.
This is your fucking show.
1180. 1180. Yeah. Because I'm gonna go play in the next few weeks. So.
That sounds terrible.
Sounds awesome. Soft as hell. All right.
All right. Looks like Brad ran to the bathroom or something. We'll draw and he'll catch up.
All right. You ready? Did you draw?
I did.
Yep. I'm sorry. Who you got?
Joel in the house, the ringer. Let's do it.
That.
Although Joe got his ass kicked last week, so it's possible.
Yeah.
You could beat the computer.
Pop P's about to hand him that ass whooping real quick. Good luck, my dude. Pop P, I see you out there.
1180, Brad.
And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to GodsBigToe and make sure you guys are following Brad.
Yeah, had to put my cat outside and.
Faraz kicked his ass last week. That's right, Joel. He's a crafty.
Faraz, yeah.
All right, guys, let's play it.
1180.
1180.
Yes, sir. 1180.
All right,
let's play it.
Let's do it.
PokerCoaching.com community, what's up? This is Tristan Wade, bringing you a 2-5 no limit hold'em cash game quiz.
Thank you, Jay.
In this hand, we got a few limpers, under the gun limps, under the gun +2 limps, the low jack limps, the hijack, a young unknown player with 2,200 chips, also limps, and it folds around to us in the small blind with king queen offsuit. What do we want to do? Do we want to fold? Do we want to call? Do we want to raise to 35 or raise to 50?
Is this a good spot for them to get squozen? Or do we limp along? What is the play?
God, how does this not look like fun? Look at this. 50, 50, 50. Everybody just going 50. I love it.
Raise to 50, bruh.
Jay, thank you for that follow, man. Really appreciate it. Brian, 50, fresh.
Going
50.
the squozen route.
200 big blinds deep versus limpers. OPP. Glad I didn't win.
Joel just realized this was cash game. He's going 50.
35, but no idea. 135 and all 50s. DG, my dude, good to see you, buddy. 35 is too small. Oh, shit. Joel doesn't play cash. We're good. What are we doing here? Yeah, what are we doing here, my dude? Where we at?
I mean, me.
I was waiting
your
for
guy. You need your guy.
Potlocker. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. Potlocker.
Joel going.
If he doesn't show up in
lots of 50s,
15 seconds, because he didn't show up in chat, we'll have to re-roll it. Oh, you got I picked you, man. You won, my dude.
Surprise!
What are you doing? Surprise! Hi. He says hello. What are you doing here, size-wise?
Eureka!
Complete. Now I'm starting to see some completes in there. Judas Priest is just calling. DC Doorknob is completing. We're still waiting on P-Luck. 50 or 35 or call, my dude.
There isn't a single flat in the Toe
50.
Army. Joe going 52.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm sorry, Brad. What do you like in these kind of spots in cash?
I mean, completing is like completing is what I would do. I don't want to build a massive bloated pot out of position with a hand that typically ends up on the river with one pair and doesn't have any sort of, like king queen suited. I'm much more likely to ISO with king jack suited, king 10 suited. Like king queen off is just, you're going to find yourself out of position with one pair very, very often with no backdoor equity, and things are going to get tough.
Mm-hmm. How about on a button here? Would you?
That makes me feel so good because like the king 8 squeeze, like I usually flat that one too, and I would flat
too.
this like 100%. I ain't trying to put this pot out of position with a gajillion players that aren't going to fold.
Even if you make it 50, I mean, you can still very likely go multi-way as well.
Out of position,
like,
blow the
in
pot.
these kind of games. Yeah,
It's almost a lock that you're going multi-way.
Yeah, for sure. Once one person calls, I mean, if the under the gun guy calls, I mean,
especially in a 6-way pot, like you're getting called twice just by the rules of average, like laws averages, right? Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go 50 because we're the boss.
Team Spaz for the Army as well. Let's find out.
Oh, shit! Team Spaz.
Depending
Team
on
Spaz
what kind of
for
game
Tristan.
you're in, like in terms of who the under the gun limper is, who are the other limpers, like you could make an argument to call here, but I think King Queen offsuit is a strong enough hand to be isolating here most of the time against weaker limps. And with that said, what kind of sizing do we want to do? Well, since there's 4 limps already out there, I think we need to go bigger. So I think a raise to 50 would be best here. Now in game, I actually went with 35. So if you pick 35, I don't fault you there.
35.
Because we definitely want to be raising here more or less and start thinning some of the ranges, maybe get a couple folds, maybe only be 2 or 3 handed, what have you. So I think 50 accomplishes that a lot better than 35. And we're out of position as well, so I could see making a better argument for being on the button to make a smaller raise. But with all that said, I make it 35. The first limper calls, the second limper calls, the third limper calls, and the fourth limper calls. So
we told you so.
That's what happened. They all called, which is fine. No big deal, but maybe that goes to say I should have been making it 50 to deter some people from just throwing in $30. Now, as you can see, this was a pretty deep stack 2-5 game, 200 big blinds deep mostly with a couple people with a few shallower stacks. Now the flop comes 9 deuce deuce. What do we do? We're out of position with 4 players behind us. Should we check? Should we bet 75 or should we bet 150?
Yeah, we're in hell.
The first thing I do is I quote one of my favorite people. I say, "Oh, piss."
Oh,
why?
piss.
Why did I put myself in this?
Why did I set $30 on fire, dude? Like, yeah.
I mean, at least set 50 on fire if you're gonna do it against 2 people.
But yeah, Tristan, just too rich to care, wants to play a very high variance style and thinks like he can get in situations with these guys where they're just naturally going to have worse King S, Queen X, even if we make top pair. So and just get paid that way. So
I think it's underappreciated by even high level players, the power of position. And it's a really
everything.
Really big deal.
Everything.
Like I can show you data. You know, I've made a couple of courses on c betting versus weak players specifically, and their loss rate halves when they're in position versus being out of position. And this is like this is recreational, really bad players, and it's just very natural that their loss rate halves. So like again, I think like building big pots here with a hand that is typically going to end up with 1 pair. It's problematic, and you know we see this flop, and like this is a good flop for us, and this flop is actually like now we get to start putting in more money here, and that's sort of the path that we laid for ourselves by starting with the pre-flop ISO.
I agree with that 100%. Absolutely. Well said.
Potluck P-Luck says 150. We need this bluff to work. So he's just going 150. He ain't fucking around.
Buffalo Soldier. Thank you for the follow. And yes, this is on house free. We do this every Saturday, noon Eastern. Check it out.
Effective Ninja, thank you for that follow as well a couple minutes ago, buddy.
Shoot our way out of the foxhole with Tristan Wade 101. Joel going 75 because he's going to turn a queen.
All right, so 75, 150. Yeah, we're going 150 because we're trying to shut the shit down, apparently.
Jay's going 150 because he said, fuck it, it's someone else's money.
Y'all should know what I'm gonna do. Like this has already been covered in 2 of the earlier quizzes where we're multi-way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you're not getting told. I mean, I don't think there's no way in hell any of these bet sizes are making all these players fall.
Preach.
Yep.
Basically,
horrible. Go ahead.
Basically, because we're so deep and because we ISO'd and because we have all the overpairs, the overpair advantage, like
having to beat.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Are all the answers in? Can we talk about what we would do yet?
Yeah, all the answers in. Go, man.
Oh yeah. For me, it's like just going small and starting there and likely putting in a bunch more money on good, favorable runouts. That's the path.
10, ace, king, queen. And you're putting a lot of pressure on those single pair hands.
Or an 8, a 7, a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3.
Oh, you're going hard. Well,
yeah,
you think when we get called by two, let's say we go to 75, and I mean any of the two players call under the gun +2, low jack, and we see like a 7 turn, we still want to be. I would be less likely to put in more money because it doesn't change much. But at the same time, it's probably still going to get a lot of folds because we're just trying to rep the top of our range.
This is a big reason why I tend to not pop the pot in these spots because, like, I just am so comfortable, like Brad was saying earlier, playing in these spots, multi-way, out of position. And I get a little confused on, like, if this is a heads-up pot and I 3-bet king, queen off, which will happen a decent amount. If we get this board, it's an easy C-bet. But here I'm like, fuck, I got to bet into all these people and go blindly into the turn. And
our range.
I'm so uncomfortable.
We have aces, kings, queens.
We do have the stronger range because they are all full of shit and we ISO'd it, right? And they flatted and then raise it.
Go ahead, Brad.
We could talk about, too, like, just pre-flop range construction and how that affects our strategy on the flop here. Like, if we have king, queen, king, jack, king, 10 suited, we have 3 combos of each suit, or 3 combos that, represent diamonds, spades, and clubs. That we can just go ahead and start barreling here.
Much more comfortable.
And then we can start betting turns, and that's just naturally going to lead us to a point to where, like, aces through 10s, aces, kings, queens, jacks, 10s, we've got 6 combos of each. That's 30 combos. We're going to have around something like that with betting our overcards, broadways with backdoors, which leaves us pretty balanced here. When we do king, queen off or king, jack off, now all of a sudden we're looking at like 16 combos.
Way down the chart.
All of these hands, and we find ourselves just over bluffing, out of whack. Really hard to manage so many different combos.
Yeah, Joel said he wants to check this badly, but doesn't think Tristan is ever checking here, so he's leveling just for the quiz. Hot Since 87, 1, love the screen name, 2, thank you for the follow, and 3, thank you for the bits.
8 by 24 by 5. Blocking ace king, ace queen is good here because they're more likely to have 7s through 10s. But we still just have so many overpairs that we just have to apply pressure and good runouts where those hands are going to be forceful. So 75. We're going 150. Let's do it.
Wow.
This is where the hand is interesting. We're out of position. There's 4 players behind us. We have king high, but we've got a really good flop. I mean, 9 deuce deuce shouldn't really hit any of these limping ranges. Sure, they might have some small pairs or some 9x type hands, or maybe even like ace deuce suited, but whatever. That's not that many hands, and those hands aren't that strong unless we're just talking about, ace deuce suited. So if you pick check, I give you 8 points. If you just want to give up and not go for it here, fine, I get it. There's 4 players. Somebody might have something. I understand that. But in terms of like what our hand is and what we're representing, I think this is a clear bet. So if you bet 75, I gave you 10 points. If you bet 150, I gave you 5 points. I don't think we need to go with a big bet here, no matter what hand we have in our range. If we have 10s, jacks, queens, kings, aces, I think we can just make the same bet with all of those hands. So I think a bet of 75, half pot is fine. You could maybe even go a little bit bigger, but on this board texture, I don't think that's necessary. So 75, let's keep it moving. We get a couple folds now, and it folds around to the young unknown on the hijack who decides to call. The turn comes a deuce, so it doesn't really change anything except it takes a combination of ace deuce suited out of the mix. And what should we do now? Should we check? Should we bet 150 or should we bet 225?
All right.
Here we go.
Check 150 or 225. What do you guys like here? We do get called. Winter Ren going 150.
Dennis going 150. He's not scared.
150s.
Ooh,
Okay.
Joel says he would overbet this spot instantly. He's going 225. Savage.
Joel.
Savage Joel. Beat's going 225 too. He's in Team Savage.
Have to have 8 checks. Good. Defective is just checking, thinking this man has to have pocket 8s, and he doesn't want to make him fold the full house. People don't fold full houses.
Brian betting, Dada Bill betting, Arlinia betting, Bovine betting,
Debo's theorem,
Machine Gun betting.
What is that? Now I'm curious.
Buffalo Soldier betting.
What sides are those guys betting? Are they 150? Are we seeing more 150s in the Army?
Mike betting.
Or 225s?
Zero checks. 0 150s, all 225s.
Shit, I'm seeing some checks over here. Potluckers checking. Yeah, I mean, P Lucker is checking. DC Doorknob's checking. And
390 left, Buffalo.
So since they both already went, I mean,
225 for Joel.
225 for me. I mean, that's what we got. 225. Yeah, and then that's just gonna set us up for a nice little river 1, 2, 3 putt. So yeah, 225. Yeah, I mean, 225 for sure. I mean, we're just gonna make his life hell. I mean, we just think about this. We went 50 pre-flop into the whole table, and then we're just c-betting, double barreling. We're gonna make all of his pairs, put him in a real tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably bet here more often, but I do have the little voice in my head saying that this hand does have a small amount of showdown value.
No, it doesn't.
You don't think so?
Hell no.
No showdown value?
No. Hell no, this ain't.
I mean, I said I was betting.
Like ace. What does it have showdown value with? I don't even know.
Like, I guess what's floating on the flop? Nothing on 922. All right, no showdown value.
Yeah,
talk me out of it.
Just get me out.
You talk
me out. Yee. 225.
Just bet.
So, what do you think of here, Brad? What you got here?
I'm thinking that there's 0 chance you can check, and this like you can't barrel flop and then check on the trip's turn. It's like one of the best turns that we could see.
Very true.
So like basically we've made our bed, and now I go small here. Actually, I choose the smaller sizing, and then I have
overbet. Maybe.
Yeah, I've got bad intentions for mostly all rivers, but like basically I want to use the smaller sizing, maybe keep them a little bit wider here on the turn so that I can apply max pressure with like a river overbet.
Sure.
Damn, I like that better than 225 now. Shit. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because if we had something like a hand that just needed no protection, was very strong, we wouldn't need to use the big bet sizing. We would want him to continue a little wider, and we don't care if the SPR isn't perfect on river.
Plus, there's a non-zero chance that like villain has 8-9 and decides to shove, or like overplays some sort of full house, and in that case, we can, if we bet smaller, we lose the minimum when they do jam.
Sure.
Yep, save $75. Yep.
Sure.
Perfect. I really like that analysis on why we can go 150 as opposed to 225, because I would go big as hell here every single time. But I like using more of a reasonable bet, and we could still jam river. So in this case, we are checking because that's what P Luck is doing, and we're hoping to get there on river.
225 for Joel.
All right, let's do it.
Well, since we started with this story of raising pre-flop and then betting into 4 opponents on the flop, if the board doesn't change on the turn, I don't think we should stop with our plan. So checking here isn't an option. Check is absolutely 0 points. Never check here. So we want to be betting. A bet of 150 of about half pot would be fine. I don't think that's an issue. That wouldn't really get us to apply a whole lot of pressure on the river in terms of how many chips we would have left in the size of the pot. Sure, we could shove the river for a little more than pot, but I think we want to be betting a little bit more than half pot here with our range, because what if we get called now but get a fold on the river? So we want to try to pick up a little more value now, and that's why we don't want to be half pot as much. We want to be betting a little bit bigger. So I gave the bet of 225 the top score, which is what I went with. And we get called again. And now if you see with that bet size, we now have 665. There's 780 in the pot. The Jack of Diamonds lands on the river. What are we going to do? Are we going to check? Are we going to bet 350? Or are we going to go all in?
Joel jammed before we even started this video.
before the river even show, he just yep. Defective Ninja is now jamming, even though you wanted to check the turn. I see you. Now we have to jam dead money, says. We went the big side.
Oh, we can't just jam 200 bigs from the beginning, Buffalo Soldier. We're going to the ATM, says Jay.
Okay, Jammy says.
Rebuy.
Now people locked in jamming. Don't worry about making mistakes in this, man. I just needle a little bit. Don't feel bad. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. And like we always say, like if you're gonna make mistakes, like this is the place to make mistakes where they don't cost you anything.
Yeah,
you just get better.
It's
okay. That's why we're here.
Massive mistakes last night. So it's okay.
Everybody makes mistakes
for actual money. So this is okay. But yeah, I think from what it looks like, everybody's jamming. There's still some shook ones out there. I still see some shook ones who don't want to punt a whole stack, but I guess jam at this point seems like the whole line is a little unnecessary. What? No, I don't know. I'm okay with it. All in because Brad said so.
Bruce said it cost him his pride. He just have to be like me and not have any pride.
Yeah. All right. We're about finishing up here. P Luck is jamming, and so Joel is in there, and Toe is yeet as well.
I'm jamming. We got here this way.
When we go that size on a turn, and he actually calls it.
We did polarize a little bit on the turn.
Never folding at this point. That's the question? Or are we gonna fully follow through with our story? I mean, I'm probably always following through, but it does feel a little bit bad when we go 225 and he calls. There's another overcard. Conceivably, he can just still find
the jacks in his range. Ace jack.
I mean, no, I'm not worried about the jacks in his range, but it feels like when he calls it 225, he may have some boats. He just says, "I'm never folding."
Fair.
But I'm probably just still gonna always follow through.
Brad,
anything?
You wimping out? You firing?
It's done. It was
you
done
jammed. Yes, you jammed on the turn.
Yeah, it was. It's basically like on the flop. I've pretty much jammed.
This quiz was over 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, like once we get the situation in that board, it's just time to go 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna follow through.
All right, everybody jamming. Let's find out.
Yep.
If you selected all in, you're absolutely right. There's really no other reason for us to bet anything less than all in here. Maybe if we just thought this person was really weak and had 2 6s or 2 7s and they're not going to call all in, but they'll call 350, then sure, go ahead and get paid, man. Like, go ahead, get your money. But more or less, it's the same principle here where we want to go for max value. We only need to get called half as much if we're betting our full stack compared to the other bet size I listed. So this is just a clear spot to go for a triple barrel bluff. Our opponent likely has a 9 here. It's unlikely they have 10s plus because they were the 4th person to limp in position. So really, unless they're just trapping with ace deuce, which, like I said, there's one combo of ace deuce suited, and I doubt that many people are putting in another $30 pre-flop with ace deuce offsuit. We're just not really too worried about being beaten here. And we can always have pocket jacks, pocket queens, pocket kings, pocket aces. So this is a pretty clear triple barrel spot. It's not mind-blowing. It's nothing ridiculous. It's the only thing that was a little troublesome is betting into 4 people on the flop. But our opponent should really look at that as strength because we probably aren't bluffing as much. Let's say I did raise with some other hands. I might not be just blasting off as much. I think King Queen's a great spot here to blast off. So we go for it. We go all in. And unfortunately for me, this player was a true hero and said, you know what, I just don't believe you. And they didn't fold the 9-6 offsuit at any point in the hand. And, that's poker, what have you. It sucks to get called when you know what your opponent has, more or less. But we knew where we were at this whole hand, and we went for it. And more or less, this is going to be a winning play. I thought I could pressure a 9 to fold by the river. I don't think the jack really changes much on the river, but this person was a little sticky, and who knows, maybe they had a good feel for where I was in the hand or what have you, and maybe they just made a good call. But either way, I'm happy with how I played the hand. I think I played it appropriately, and unfortunately for me, I didn't win. So hopefully you learned a little bit here, and thanks for taking the time to learn on pokercoaching.com. Take care.
Fucked by the 6-9. There's got to be a good joke in there somewhere.
Wait a minute. No, go ahead, Brad. I know you had something to say about this.
Back to my Uber shifts.
I think so. My first thought is,
true beats.
Well, when I originally filled out the quiz, like basically completing was like 5 points, and this is why completing is so good, because the reality is like Villain has 6-9 here, and there are people saying that like it's a punt, it's gross, all those things. If you're ISOing king queen off, ace queen off, ace king off, and then you're barreling off, you're way over bluffing here, and Villain actually should call the river if they somehow make it here with 6-9, because your bluff to value ratio is totally out of whack. And that's sort of just going back to the way that we played pre-flop and ISOing with offsuit hands. That's why ISOing really big with offsuit hands creates lots of problems down the road. And like, obviously the 6-9 off, like, I don't know what world that Villain's living in, but in a world where they did make it to the river here, and Hero is ISOing all their offsuit broadways, like, yeah, you call, and it's a pretty trivial and easy call too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I mean, he can't fold there, especially Tristan's image was probably he had been aggressive. If he's using combos like this, yeah, he's just gonna have enough bluffs in his range where this boat is never folding. So a lot of people in the chat also saying people don't fold full houses live poker. Never ever seeing anyone fold any kind of.
The guy who limp called all that action with 9-6 off probably isn't folding a boat. That's not. That's not the guy. Yeah. But in general,
ace queen, ace king, certainly ISO, and then like the suited broadways as well. I think that's reasonable. It's just like the king queens, the king jacks, the ace jack offs, like those hands. Maybe even ace 10 off. I don't know how deep it goes, but the more offsuit combos that you have there, like it's just more offsuit combos you have, and when you have no break pedal, you end up on the river over bluffing. And when Villain has the 9, he can just pretty easily close his eyes, click the call button, and know that it makes money.
And like you said, when we use the offsuit variety versus the suited variety, like more often than not, we're going to end up with a single pair hand with the offsuit variety because we have no backdoor equity most of the time and all that kind of stuff where we can improve easy, right?
I mean, realistically speaking, I go broke here with every suited Broadway combo that I have.
Sure.
Like I'm always going broke here, but like run this sim out in a million iterations and see the effect of having going broke with all the offsuit varieties too, and see where that gets you. It's going to have a severe impact on how much money you're losing. And like basically you're playing against really bad players. Like reach future decision trees, don't build massive pots out of position with these kind of hands that end up with one pair. And I think like, so redoing the quiz, I think pre-flop, like just completing is the 10 out of 10 answer.
Yep. Absolutely.
I agree. Yep.
What'd your guy get in this quiz, Sixes?
25.
So wish for the machine, Joel.
You just wanted. You knew damn well you were gonna win. You just wanted to rub it in our face. Son of a bitch. You just wanted to rub it in our face.
Set you up to dunk it on you.
Joel, hit me up. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Joel, just hit me up if you want off a team toe. If you want ace, you know how to get me. Goddamn it, we talk every day. Let me know how you want your money.
I think another thing too is like if villain's inflexible with their 9x calling on the turn, which obviously they are, like the smaller sizing ought to be highly preferred versus the bigger sizing. So like 10 out of 10 should be the smaller sizing on the turn so that you have a larger river bet to put max pressure on the weaker portions of villain's range.
Absolutely.
Yep, and we keep his range wider by keeping it in that smaller bet. I really like that because I would just naturally have went somewhere in that 200 range, but that 150 is really good. I like that.
Very similar situation to the King 8 suited hand. One, we ISO'd that because we were suited, so we got that extra equity there. And also, like, you bet small on the turn when the King came for their similar reasons, right? Like, just to kind of keep the ranges a little wider and set up future streets and all that stuff, right?
I think, honestly, on the turn, like, we don't even need to go full half pot. Like,
you go 30% ever in this spot?
Yeah. I mean,
30%.
Again, like 100, 110, and then a lot of river 1.5x overbet rips.
Damn,
like,
that would be nice. Yeah,
that's really nice.
Fuck, that's actually nice.
It looks more, value.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, we get more value, and they call, and they still sometimes make the mistakes if they're actually never folding the full houses. It's great. And like you said, sometimes it's not a zero frequency where they're not going to just raise the turn with their full house sometimes. So
they may have quads or like nines full on occasion, and they just raise the turn because they're like, oh, they've got overpairs all the time, and we get to get out cheaper. So like basically in a spot like this where villains like has 9x or a pocket pair, all of our overpairs need like zero protection. And because our overpairs need zero protection, I don't really see why
our bluff should be the same size.
Yeah, I think like going 1/3 just does a lot of good things.
I think somebody said that in the chat. I like that. Somebody in the chat said that as well. Good job, guys. I mean, I think chat was very active. A lot of good responses. We've seen a lot. I mean, you guys are definitely getting better. And Brad, thank you again for showing up today, man. We really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. And do you have anything you want to plug, say to chat or anything before we get out of here?
No, guys, check out the Chasing Poker Greatness podcast. That's the easiest way to get into my content, and we've got a Slack community that's focused specifically on cash games. I have a couple of courses, pre-flop boot camp and fish in a barrel. That's c-betting versus the weaker opponents, and then pre-flop boot camp is just basically a week of intense training, learning, memorizing your pre-flop ranges so that you free up cognitive energy to make post-flop decisions. And that's maybe an under-thought about thing that when freeing up cognitive energy is very, very beneficial. So that's all I got, man.
As streamers, that's something we could probably benefit from, like having to deal with everything we deal with while playing and streaming, and that would be nice.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me too, by the way. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Thank you for having us on the Chasing Poker Greatness podcast. Both of us have episodes on there, guys. Make sure you check it out. I put Guest Command in my chat. There's a link to Chasing Poker Greatness. There is a link to his Twitter where you can follow him there. He's always posting up fun little bits of knowledge and promoting the next guest and all that good stuff. Make sure you check it out.
Yeah, I used to tweet more before like Galfond and Jason Kuhn followed me. Now I'm like, I got to think about my tweets. I'm like, is this a Galfond approved tweet? Like, is this a Jason Kuhn approved
Those guys set the bar so high.
I know.
Right on. Exclamation PC in my chat. Exclamation PC in Six's chat for you to get a link to sign up for free for pokercoaching.com. It's Jonathan Little's coaching site. All three of us put content on there. All three of us are active in the community. Make sure you follow Brad's Slack community as well. You get 20 free quizzes, big blind charts for 100 blinds or more, and some homework assignments. If you sign up for the premium, there are more homework assignments and quizzes and webinars. There's more content that you could possibly consume. One thing I love about pokercoaching.com is that one, it's delivered to the masses, and yet like these quizzes still feels really personal and interactive, which is great. And I think it's also great because it's great for poker players of all levels. You don't have to have a super solid base and any of that. If you're just starting out, there's still tons of great content for you. Check that out. Make sure you give the follow to my man, Crazy Sixes, legend of the game, best friend of mine. There is the cast command for him.
There it is.
Exclamation point YouTube in the chat too if you want to catch up the beginning of this one or any ones we've ever done in the past. Brad, thank you. Sixes, thank you. Did I miss anything, my man?
No, you crushed it as usual. Go ahead, man.
No, I was going to say I forgot about poker coaching. Like I've done a bunch of webinars on there. Have a bunch of quizzes that will be released one day. 7 days of the cash game challenge. So if you like cash game content, want to level up your cash game, all of that stuff that I've made for poker coaching is, I don't know. It's as good as I could make it. I can't. That's all I can say. Is it's as good as I could make it.
Yeah, you did your best.
I have them up on the screen right now. Their upcoming webinars, March 24th and 25th. Cash Game Live webinar with Brad Wilson and online 1000 NL Cash Game Live Play and Explanation with Brad. If you are a PC.com premium member, check that out. And if you're not, that should incentivize you to get the fuck in there. There's great content.
Yeah.
Get in there.
It's going to be really good.
The first one is going to be just basically an approximation of a private coaching session for a poker coaching premium member. They're going to make me a play and explain, send it to me. We're going to go through it just like I would a private coaching session. So if you've ever been curious as to what goes on in those sessions, that's a good chance to sate your curiosity. And the other one's just basically it's a live stream, private live stream for poker coaching premium at 1KNL.
There you go.
Look at that, guys. This stuff launches this week, so great time to sign up. Check this stuff out. I'm excited. I mean, I consume a ton of this content, and I'm a student of cash games. I don't get to play much, but I love the game, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. And Brad, thank you again. Toe, anybody out there that you see?
I'm looking, and it's all the usual suspects. I see Rodney. I see Braz. I see Gripst. I see those three for the most part, and a bunch of people that are up and coming people.
Cool. All right, yeah, let's just throw it to
Evan, like always.
Evan, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, it's poker coaching, man. He's poker coaching family.
He's a good friend. If you like Evan's content, check him out. And also, he's been a guest on this stream multiple times. You can check out his videos on the YouTube channel as well.
All right, guys, thank you again, and we're out of here. I'm gonna drop that off, and I will see you guys potentially tomorrow.
Peace, guys.
See you.
Oh, piss! I'll use the wrong thing.